The tornado warned part of the system is for North County and also for parts of Madison, and it looks like it'll probably be extended from Macoupin into Bond County as well. So if you're watching us from these red shaded boxes, if you live in these boxes here from North County, including all of North County, I'm talking to all the neighborhoods, Blackjack, Spanish Lake, Hazelwood, you need to be in your safe place at least for the next 4 minutes. That tornado warning will expire at 8. And then we go north where you have the other tornado warning that had been issued while we were on air, and that is for this particular part of the cell here. This does include parts of Madison County, also parts of Jersey and Macoupin County. So make sure you are paying attention if you're watching from those particular locations. It looks like the Madison part of that storm has dropped. So Shipman, Polk, Gillespie, Staunton, Bunker Hill, Litchfield, if I've called out any of your towns, you need to be in your safe place right now. I'm going to take away some of this information on the screen to just help us see this storm a little better. So let's get rid of the graphic there with the lightning, the road names, and just show you the warning. And there it is. And you can see we have not only the tornado warning, but severe thunderstorm warnings too that stretch all the way up into Girard, outside of the system, even down towards Alhambra. But it's this area here that we're watching. This particular tornado warning. If you are watching us in this area, you need to be in your safe place right now. From Shipman back towards Staunton and even Litchfield, even though you're not in that warning, it will most likely be extended. This goes until 8:30, so another 30 minutes until this clears and the threat has diminished. The orange that you see overlaying the map, that is a severe thunderstorm watch that's been in place since about 4 o'clock this morning, and it was just to prepare us for, well, what's to come now and what has arrived. So there's your radar. You see the lightning and thunder, and as we've mentioned, if you're just waking up and joining us, we're talking tornado warnings right now, and we do have some hail in some of these storms. The gray that you see on the map, those are hail cores that are dotting the map. So these are getting a little bit larger, and I think that's why we have the severe thunderstorm warning from Scottsville to Girard. The hail from that particular part of the cell is moving over towards Girard and Carlinville. So you're going to get some really large hail with this one outside of the tornado watch box. And we talked earlier about the velocity radar. And let's see if we can go back to that. Let's get the computer to go back to that particular location because of the velocity, the wind. The tornado is wind driven. And that's how you can see whatever is out there. And we talked about the velocity couplet. Whenever you see the two colors very close together is where you have the spin up. And it looks like for a while, it was just south of Chesterfield. Looks like the spin up perhaps is right outside of the box, maybe moving out of the box. They may issue a new tornado warning here to encompass this part of the viewing area. But the couplet you see there, even a little bit right there, those colors close together. It's a small spin up, but nonetheless, it's a spin up. And whether it's a small tornado or a large one, you want to be in your safe place regardless. So from Shipman, Brighton, and over towards Gillespie, Bunker Hill, White City, Staunton, Litchfield, if I've called out any of those towns and you live there, get in your safe place right now and stay there. Make sure you have your shoes on. Make sure you have something to protect your head in the event of falling walls or debris. Helmets, always a great idea. And of course, pillows, blankets, things like that. This is the tornado warning for that particular location, showing you the velocity. Let's go back to the Doppler radar. And again, this is what you're used to seeing, the heavy rain, the lightning, and the thunder. I'm hearing that we have some live pictures here from Storm Tracker. So let's this is along 70. And hopefully our photographer is being very safe as they're going to and from wherever they are, but you can see the roads are wet and the rain is coming on down this morning. And that's going to be the trend, at least for, I'd say, maybe the next couple of hours. Plain old rain for us, you know, when the storms do pass. But we still do have the tornado warning for North County and also for parts of Macoupin and Jersey County. So it looks like right now we've hit 8 o'clock. The tornado warning has just expired for North County, but it looks like as we were talking, if you were just watching, I tell you, you've been doing this long enough, you can figure out where these storms are going to do, because if you go back to the radar, you can see we mentioned the fact that the National Weather Service may extend that tornado warning, and they have just done that to now include those areas that I was just talking about. I have to edit this graphic here and move it, so just bear with me because we've been doing live TV now for half an hour, and well, the location of where these storms originated has changed a little bit. So let's get over here to that particular cell and line that up. So there you go, the velocity couplet. That's what we've been talking about this morning, and there you can easily pick it out. There's your rotation right there. Earlier, it was just about right here. Seems as though it's been drifting to the northeast. We showed you Chesterfield, Illinois, right about there. And now it's moving out towards Carlinville. If you're watching from Carlinville, now, get in that safe place right now. Do not wait. Go there right now, because it looks like that velocity couplet is holding together. It looks like it's even expanded a little bit. So that's where I'm thinking your tornado is right now, just east or west of you in Carlinville, right about to move along that Route 4. I do believe that's Route 4 corridor. I'm trying to find some other markers. I know that this is 108. So really 108, I would say, perhaps, to be more mindful, not necessarily Route 4. I think that's east to west, or perhaps it's north to south. I don't know. Carlinville, though, basically. That's where you need to be in your safe place. You notice how this couplet, the colors you see there that are close together, how they extend north of Carlinville up towards Girard. So I would say even in Girard, you need to be on guard as well, even though you're not included in the tornado warning. But Carlinville, that's the one location. Even I would say if you're watching from Polk, you're right on the north end of it, so or the south end of that couplet. So I would be in my safe place as well, just in case. This particular cell has not had any confirmation with it when it comes to tornado warnings, but we are finding that it was Doppler indicated when it comes to our radar. You know, Paul Cook is here. He's been watching things in the traffic center as well. Paul, you know, not only is the tornado warning causing issues, you know, with viewers where they are, you've got crashes that are piling in left and right.
Right, we do. Absolutely. Want to take a quick look at a few of those crashes, or at least let you know about them. We have 40 at Boyle. So 6440 at Boyle. Actually, we were dealing with that before it got wet, and now the accident has moved on to be a little bit longer. But Wentzville Parkway, 70 at Wentzville Parkway. There was a minor accident, but now you are bumper to bumper on 70 going eastbound at Wentzville Parkway, Anthony.
All right. Paul, are you finding any issues when it comes to how the roads look on the Illinois side of the river where we have the tornado warning up in Carlinville?
I haven't seen accidents yet, but I'm going to take a closer look here coming up, and definitely visibility, not great right there, but volume is lighter. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that, and we've been following what you've been doing up there. Oh, it is just treacherous, and you've said it a few times, safe place. Get to
Yeah,
a
safe place. I mean, that's what it's all about right now. Safety, the name of the game, and that's what we're doing, trying to keep you posted here. There's a look at Paul's traffic map, and you can see in Carlinville, it seems as though because these are smaller roadways, traffic is moving, you probably don't have a rush hour bumper to bumper up there. But of course, you know, if you are on the roadways and you're hearing the sirens go off, you're maybe leaving the grocery store, you pull it up on 5+, you're watching on your phone, you want to get into a safe place, a sturdy structure, a basement without windows. Let's go back to our weather computer, and I want to talk about this velocity couplet. I know this is a radar that you guys see and think, well, I don't understand this, so here, let's break it down. These green colors, as mentioned, the radar, it is scanning. It's always moving in the sky, right, at one direction. Wind moving towards it, green. Wind moving away from it, red. And whenever you have those couplets close together, like what we're finding in Carlinville, that's where you have rotation hitting the radar as we speak. So there's a spin up going on right here, just west of Carlinville. We have not had any confirmation of a tornado, and we don't want you going outside trying to get a picture. We don't want your pictures right now. We don't want to see the hail. We don't want to see the tornado. We want you to get to your safe place, and we want you to stay there because we still have a tornado warning for this particular cell until 8:30 this morning. So that's another 25 minutes to go. I'm going to go back to the radar, and this is what you're used to seeing, and you can see all of those bright colors, and you also see our storm tracker on the other side of the screen. These bright colors denote the heavy rain, and we've been talking about the hail cores because there is some hail that's being picked up in these storms. They're gray. The gray hail core you see right there just west of Carlinville, that's where you have hail being detected. I do think this hail core needs to be shifted a little bit. Perhaps there's a little bit of a delay, but there is hail in this storm as it's moving towards Carlinville. You see all the lightning and thunder as well. Even down towards Bunker Hill, you've got a little hail core just moving in. From Bunker Hill, Carlinville, you do need to be in your safe space. And it looks like there's been a new tornado warning here that was just issued while I was speaking. So back to the computer we go to get more information on that. So let's go through the warnings once again. So here we are, the red boxes. I'm going to take away a couple colors here because there is just so much going on the map. We're going to get rid of the watch, and we're going to get rid of the lightning. And there you can see our warnings clearly. So from just about Pittman Litchfield, Carlinville to Gillespie into Mount Olive, Bunker Hill, you are all under tornado warnings right now. It looks like one of those warnings is actually overlapping. So there was no warning that was just issued. This is just an overlapping warning. So you have this box here that includes Bunker Hill, Mount Olive, Gillespie. That's for that particular part of the cell. Then we have this other tornado warning, for Carlinville. This one extends all the way back here towards Litchfield, just north of Hillsborough, Illinois. So you have two warnings here that are kind of overlapping each other. But the bottom line, we go back to the velocity radar. This is how you can find the tornado on the velocity radar. The wind, right? Tornado is a wind component, and you can't always see it from this particular vantage point, so we have to use the velocity, which you can clearly make out. There it is, the velocity couplet. Whenever you see those colors close together, you have spin up, you have rotation in the atmosphere, and that is right now over Carlinville as we speak. So if you're in Carlinville, you're getting the wind, you're getting the rain, you're getting the lightning and thunder, even the hail. Carlinville, you are the one location right now that really needs to be in your safe place for now. This system is going to continue to drift to the east and northeast, and as it does, it's going to take that rotation with it. So if you're watching from Raymond, if you're watching from Litchfield, even Gillespie, even though you don't have the rotation close to you, you are in the tornado warning. You need to be in your safe place, because you can see how, as it's continuing to update, the couplet over Carlinville does seem to be extending a little farther south. Not always an indication that the tornado is there, but it does show you that there is spin up, not only near Carlinville, but also a little bit farther south, which is why I think the National Weather Service has included this area here from Bunker Hill to Gillespie and Staunton in that tornado warning. We go back to the radar, and you can see the storm system clearly here as it's moving through Carlinville. The gray, that's the hail core, and it looks like that's kind of faded out here within the last few minutes. But we're going to zoom out so you can see the whole system, because it's not just north of St. Louis where you have issues. You also have this severe thunderstorm warning, that includes parts of the Metro East. So from Madison, St. Clair, and Monroe County, now moving out of St. Louis. We didn't have any severe weather for St. Louis Metro aside from the North County tornado warning. That's been expired. Didn't hear anything from it. So I don't think you had the tornado. And then, of course, now it's moving off towards the east. But this severe thunderstorm warning means that you could have hail. You could have winds that exceed 60 miles per hour as it moves through. And that includes you now for parts of Belleville, Waterloo, back towards Staunton, and even, Sauget. And Cahokia Heights, Granite City, that whole area, you could have some hail, even some damaging wind. So we do have the severe thunderstorm watch until noon, and this is all a part of it. You can even see behind this system, more storms are flaring up back towards central Missouri. And this is where they were earlier this morning as they moved this direction. A lot of the models were saying they were going to fall apart. And through the morning, we reassessed and found that they were actually holding together. And that's why we do have the bad weather in place now. So here are your tornado warnings still actively in place. Carlinville, you are getting hammered right now. That heavy rain continues into Gillespie and Staunton as well. And I would say if you have plans, you got to get the kids to school, you probably have to get to work. I would say delay that right now. Put that on pause and wait. You just have 30 minutes to go, and then it's back to normal in these locations. But if you're watching from Carlinville, I am a little concerned about this because the velocity couplet does show there is a broad rotation here moving right over Carlinville right now. This is about to move out of Carlinville in the next few minutes, shifting off towards the east. We've been talking about that southern area where you can see the rotation still picking up right along Route 4 near Gillespie. So Gillespie, I would be in that safe place as well, just to be on the safe side. This is approaching Litchfield shortly, and eventually we'll move into Raymond. Once it moves past Hillsborough, it will be out of our viewing area, but we still do have an obligation, as long as we have tornado warnings in our viewing area, to keep you safe, and that is first and foremost. So as long as we have these warnings in place, we do have to be here to keep you safe, to walk you through it, and kind of hold your hand as we go through the worst of these storms. Let's get out to our storm tracker. I do believe we're still traveling along, and you can see, oh man, the rain is coming down, the windshield wipers are going, and hopefully we're not headed into the storm. I think I just saw a sign that said they were near Bowling Green. So there you can see from front and back. Yeah, rain, dark clouds, and hopefully they're not driving into the tornado. I think they've been listening, dialed in on the IFB, so hopefully they're being safe as well. In these kind of events, you always think about, oh, what do we do in a car? if there is a tornado warning, you just want to get to a sturdy place. I know folks say get in a ditch, go hide under an overpass. You really don't want to do that. I mean, if that's the best you have, that's the best you have. But if you see a building, a sturdy building, a Walgreens, a Walmart, anything, go there, because that will keep you more safe than just being out in the elements. Of course, our storm tracker's been out all morning and it's been pretty quiet up until this point. So right now, the only 2 tornado warnings we have, and I really shouldn't just say only, but there are 2 of them, and they're on the map you see there from Carlinville down towards Staunton, Bunker Hill, and Gillespie. Oh, and look at that. You can see the hail core right over Carlinville. So as we were expecting, yes, some pretty large hail. You're probably getting hammered right now with that. And whenever you have tornadoes, not every single time, but a lot of times, you do have hail before the tornado. And so the fact that they're getting hail in Carlinville is a good indication that perhaps what we're seeing on the velocity radar is being confirmed that there is some kind of spin up, some kind of tornado that's coming down or has yet to come on down. I want to go back and check my computers because there may have been some new information come on in since I have been talking, and that always happens as these storms evolve and move to our east. So right now I don't see anything on our scanners that would prove that we have a confirmed tornado. And as mentioned, I know folks like to see it. They want to go out and get video. They want to see a picture. Right now, we just do not want that. We don't want you trying to go see a storm. We don't want you going by the windows, looking out the windows. Straight line winds, even though it's not a tornado, sometimes can break windows. Trees come on down, and then, you're kind of caught in a pickle. So just go to your safe place. That's where you'll be, at least for the next 15 minutes. I'm going to put on our timestamps here because you can see how the storm is still moving to the east, but let's find out how long you need to stay in that safe place. So 8:45 for Macoupin and Montgomery County. That's how long the tornado warning goes there, including Litchfield. And then this one here is where they kind of overlap. This includes Macoupin, but that's also the tornado warning till 8:30, so for another 15 minutes. The yellow shading you see on the map, those are your severe thunderstorm warnings, which is where you have the straight line winds over 60 miles per hour, even the potential of some hail as well that could be the size of quarters or $50. In fact, as you go and see this area from Troy, right about near Edwardsville, this particular cell near Route 111 does look like it has a little bit of hail in it, but not a ton. Belleville, Waterloo, you're starting to see the action pick up as well. But really, it's parts of our northern viewing area that we're keeping an eye on, from Litchfield now, Carlinville, Gillespie, Staunton, Bunker Hill, this entire area under tornado warnings right now. So you definitely want to make sure that you are staying safe, in the safe place, as long as these tornado warnings are active and continue to pass on through. Carlinville, you're getting the hail, and it looks like now the radar is updated. Things are shifting now over towards parts of Interstate 55. Litchfield heads up there. You're next in line. Gillespie as well. I want to go back to our velocity radar because, again, we talk about the wind and how it hits the radar, the components of the radar. The radar is just a beam. It's just a scan that goes out in a straight line. So it can't measure wind. You know how wind is fluid. It moves up and down in different directions. So the velocity radar, as it scans, it only can do 2 things: tell you if the wind is going towards it or away from it. And that's it. And that's what we're finding here. The green is towards, the red is away. And so what you're finding in this area is that the wind is hitting both sides of the beam, which means there's a spin up. There's some kind of rotation in the atmosphere that's hitting the radar, and that's why you have the tornado warning. So it's really from, it looks like I'd stay north of Gillespie. We've been watching the tail end of it try to form a little bit farther south, but you can see as it's just updated, it does appear to be staying north of Gillespie. But Litchfield, you're right on the cusp of that couplet here. So I would be in that safe place just to be safe. Put all of your morning errands on pause. Kids get into school, they can get there late. You can get a tardy slip and still be okay. Your life, your well-being is what we're here to make sure that you're watching out for as you get ready to start your day. Don't want to get caught in something like this. Carlinville, it looks like you're starting to clear out from the worst of the wind, the spin up there. So perhaps the tornado has moved to our east. But you see from Girard, all the spinning there into parts of just southeast of Carlinville, Route 108, you're getting the worst spin up. Everywhere else, you see it's just straight line, it's just wind going one direction, right? So that we're not seeing any rotation, we're not seeing any spin ups anywhere else. Even though we do have this tornado warning for this part of our viewing area, doesn't mean you won't have it. It just means right now we're not finding the conditions are happening when it would come to any kind of spin up or rotation on the radar. You still do have the severe thunderstorm warning that goes well outside of this, including parts of Litchfield down towards Hillsboro and even just south of there as well. So here we go. You can see the radar continues to update as it scans, and it looks like we're losing a lot of that rotation from Carlinville, but it's still holding together right about there. You see some of those spin ups there, even across parts of the Carlinville area, that broad spin up. It's a broad spin up, so we're not finding anything too tight. And boom, you can see they just issued that new tornado warning where we were thinking. You see the couplets all together. That's where a new tornado warning has just popped up. So let's get over to the Weather Center, and I'm going to get you some more information on that one, because as you're seeing it, I am as well. So it's this area now where it looks like we're finding the strongest rotation. Now, once you go north of these towns outside of our viewing area, you know, those are locations that are deemed for the Springfield market. But you see Montgomery, and that's still in our county for our viewing area. The Montgomery County now, Illinois side, you do have a new tornado warning. It goes until 8:45 for that particular part of the cell. Remember, in the basement, away from windows, things like that. That is how you keep yourself safe in these events of tornado warnings. I am not finding any information that says we have a tornado on the ground, that there was any confirmation, but we certainly do have the rotation that we're finding on the Doppler radar. Some really impressive rain clouds and even some small hail that's come out of these clouds from Godfrey over towards Carlinville, but I just have not seen a confirmation for the tornado. But that's our new tornado warning. Excuse me while I take a sip of water. It's been about an hour since I've been talking. The new tornado warning here for Pittman and for this town here. I do not know how to say that name, and I'm so sorry for you. But 55, just north of Pittman, at Montgomery County, this is where we're having the broadest rotation. Bois d'Arc is what I would guess, but if you live there, you probably know how to pronounce it. Get in the safe place. Be there, stay there until 8:45. The spinning, you see, the red and the green, that is velocity radar indicated, and it shows the spinning that we're finding on the radar. We have our storm tracker out in the Metro East, and we're going to go to that now, and you can actually see the dark clouds for yourself. And yes, it is 314 day, but we're watching those clouds as you see front and back on the Metro East now. Dark clouds, but certainly stay safe to our photographer who's out and driving. I would say, again, if you are watching from Montgomery County on the Illinois side, and also for Madison and Macoupin County, or Macoupin County, excuse me, not Madison, you do need to be in your safe place, really from Raymond up towards Pittman. That's where we're finding all of these couplets. You see the reds and greens, that's spinning in the atmosphere as the radar is scanning. You're getting wind bumping up against both ends of the radar. We'll go back to the Doppler radar, and you can see as that's moving along, we are seeing this starting to push off towards the east as you're starting to see the clearing now, at least from the tornado. In Carlinville, you still do have heavy rain there. Gillespie, same deal. No warning for you right now, but it's now beginning to push off towards the east. So let's just adjust these cameras here and get you centered. And you can see for yourself how this line is still progressing to the east. I want to zoom out because there's other warnings we have. While they may not be tornado warnings, they are severe thunderstorm warnings, and they're just as important because straight line winds can do damage, hail can do damage as well. This particular severe thunderstorm warning just east for the Metro East does not seem to have a whole lot of hail with it, but perhaps some straight line wind. That includes you in Belleville, Edwardsville, down towards Saw J. Even Cahokia Heights. But again, you can see how it's really just right along that 70 corridor. Once you get south of there, things seem to be falling apart. We go north, though, from about Litchfield, that's where you have the worst of it, up into parts of Montgomery County. And you can see all of that lightning with that particular part of the cell. And as always, we got to go to that velocity radar because this paints the picture. This tells the story. Tornado, it's a wind funnel, right? It's just a wind, fast, violent moving wind that's spinning. So what we're finding here is we do have some spin up from Litchfield north into 55 near Raymond, and also going north into Montgomery County. So it's this entire area from Litchfield north where we are finding the spin up. Of course, you see the storm tracker on the right, you see the rain for yourself, but it's the tornado warning that we really want to focus in right now. It's nice to have the storm tracker, it's nice to see it, but the tornado warned area is really why we're on the air and why we are here to keep you safe in this event, because once it moves through and clears out, we'll have rain through the morning, nothing more severe after this, but it's this afternoon and evening. We're going to do this all over again. More showers and storms will pop up, and the potential of some life-threatening weather is possible. Now this morning we've been watching this as it's moved off towards the east, and you can see how we still do have that spin up, the velocity couplet, the green and the red, wherever they're close together, that's where you have the issues. I want to get a little bit closer here on Montgomery County. Because while I was not able to say that one town's name, I do believe there are other towns in this area that you want to be watching out for. So let's go in. You can see Farmersville, Thomasville, and you can even see some of the streets if you're watching us from those areas. 33rd Avenue, Mine Avenue, right in this area. I mean, you see the red, you see the green. This is a broad rotation, but nonetheless, it is a rotation. This is Montgomery County, and you can see the green and the red hitting up against the radar. That's denoting that we have spin. And also notice as it scans, it updates. So now we're seeing that shift off towards the east. This will be in place for the next 15 minutes until 8:45, but you can see all over Montgomery County, you have these spin ups happening all across the area. So in this area, Montgomery County, Illinois, this is where we have the broadest rotation. And if you are watching us from this particular location, you need to be in your safe place. Put your shoes on, get away from windows, and stay there until this particular warning does pass or is allowed to expire. Now we go a little bit farther south, and you can see we still do have a little bit of those velocity couplets bumping up against each other, but they're not as broad, they're not as widespread as what we're finding in Montgomery County, right? You look up in near Pittman and you see all the red and the green, it's a lot of it, right? You go a little farther south and you just have a little bit, but regardless, they're still spin-ups. They're still rotating, hitting that radar. And so that's why we still do have that tornado warning from Litchfield, where you see this little red right there, just north of Litchfield. So perhaps a little spin up there, but right along 55, it seems to be the worst of it. From Raymond up into Pittman, where you have those velocity couplets hitting the radar, which is denoting that spinning that we talked about to find the particular tornado. So you can see again how we go north into Montgomery County. That's the one location where the spinning on the velocity radar does seem to be more prevalent. And so I think that's where you may be having issues when it comes to some kind of spin up, whether it's a funnel cloud, whether it's an actual tornado, or whether it is just damaging wind. But in this area from Montgomery County, that's where you need to be in your safe place. You need to be making sure your family is safe and you're doing everything you can to protect your property as well. We haven't seen hail from this as it's moving through, at least from that vantage point, but boom, there you go. You can see it now right there, Montgomery County. So right along that 55 corridor, we're starting to see the hail. That's a large area of hail too, that gray that you see embedded within the radar. That's a hail core, and it's moving right over Montgomery County. Not all the time, but usually when you have a tornado, you have hail first. And so this is a good indication that there may actually be a tornado on the ground just because of the fact that we're getting such large hail. Every now and again, you'll see the radar update as things start to shift a little bit farther east. Once we go outside of this area here, north of Nokomis, you're out of our viewing area. And you can see how they just issued a new tornado warning for the Springfield market. So that county here will be covered by the Springfield market, as it probably is getting geared up and ready to go. But for these two counties, these are in our viewing area. But once they move over Ricks, Taylorville, they're out of our area. We'll be allowed to get off the air and get you back to your regular programming. But in the meantime, we still do have another 15 to 20 minutes to go to keep you posted, to keep you safe for those two counties that are still under a warning. And just to make sure, we're going to zoom out, and I want to make sure we don't have any new warnings, but we do. There you can see down towards, let's see, this is for Troy, Illinois, and extending over towards Greenville, Carlisle. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning. So I've been finding that we've had hail within these particular cells, and you can see for yourself over Troy, that's where you're getting some hail. Again, we always talk about the gray hail core. That's what you see there. That's the gray hail core right over Troy, and that's going to be shifting off towards the east. So if you're watching us from perhaps Keysport, Greenville, Breeze, Carlisle, this whole area, even though it's not a tornado warning, it is a severe thunderstorm warning, should be taken just as seriously because straight line winds can do damage, and so can hail, especially if it's large enough. So now let's go back to our north. As mentioned, I don't think we're having too much to our south. You can see there is a little bit of shower activity for Potosi, Viburnum, but nothing severe. This is really the focal point of our morning coverage here, and this is for parts of Macoupin and Montgomery County, where you see the warnings are still in place. I want to put the put the timestamp on here. It looks like that's Montgomery County until 8:45, and then this last little sliver here, also north near Montgomery. It's also Montgomery County. Excuse me. Both of those are from Montgomery County. Sometimes when you have so much on the radar, it gets really hard to see what's going on. So there your two warnings are for the same county right here, Montgomery County. Once this moves out of Montgomery County, no longer our problem. It'll be part of Springfield, Illinois' market, and they will cover it for the viewers there. But for us, we still do have it in our viewing area, so I want to get back to that velocity radar because, again, this is how you see the spin. This is how you see the rotation on the radar. Not something we show all the time because usually when you have quiet weather, it is all just green, and that shows that the wind's going one uniform direction. When you have severe weather, you see the couplets, and that's when you have those tight colors wrapped up right against each other, wind hitting the radar from both particular directions. So it really looks like from about, I'd say, east of 55 now is where you're getting, yep, and they just dropped it, right, as I said, that east of 55 is where you're getting the worst of the spin up, really from going towards Ricks, from Zanesville to Ricks, and the north into northern portions of Montgomery County. That's where you're getting the worst of the spin up, and you can see for those particular locations, you do have a lot of lightning and thunder as well, and you can also see the hail and boom. It looks like they just dropped that particular part of the tornado warning. So the thinking here with this particular spin up, it seems as though maybe the rotation's too broad, and so we're not finding any actual confirmation for tornadoes, but it's about to move into the next county outside of our viewing area. And then this little last bit of it you see from Raymond is still spinning just a little bit. So if you're in Raymond, safe place now, and everywhere else in the county, it seems as though there's not much rotation south of Raymond, even though Hillsborough, you're right on the cusp of that. Litchfield, I think you're good to go. You're probably out of the worst of it. And you see all the lightning and thunder just north of Montgomery County. So this is starting to shift off towards the east. I think in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we will be done with the tornado warnings. And of course, we'll get you back to your regular programming. And until then, we do have to keep you posted. We have to keep you up to speed, and you're obligated to keep you safe. I want to sit on this and watch it rotate and spin out of here because this will actually be the last few minutes of our coverage as it moves out of our viewing area. But you can see how every now and again the radar moves by, scans it, updates the area. Still getting a broad circulation here. If you're in Raymond, really that's the one location I'd say be in your safe place right now. This is about to move out of our viewing area. I mean, really within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Go back to the Doppler radar. I want to zoom out just a little bit and try to get a better vantage point on this particular cell as it's moving away, because you can see even ahead of it, wow, look at all the storms that have popped up in Shelbyville, over towards Ramsey. Again, all of this is right on the cusp of our viewing area. You go north of Ramsey, north of Nokomis, you're out of our viewing area, but wow, those are some big time storms. This is the one county we're keeping you warned with, and it is Montgomery County in Illinois for a tornado warning. Once this shifts off towards the next county, we will be done with our coverage and you can go on with your day. But Montgomery County, Illinois, you need to be in your safe place right now. You see the lightning and thunder. It seems to be north, the most of it north of this area. You still do have a little hail core that's being denoted there within that particular cell. And that's right where you're finding this little hail core, right over Raymond. So if you're watching from Raymond, Illinois, safe place now. I'd say be there for the next 10 to 15 minutes. After that passes, we'll be good to go for the rest of the morning. Keep in mind, though, we do have another round of storms that will be coming our way this evening. And the Storm Prediction Center, they usually update their map at 8 a.m. And that's something I look at when I'm not on air. But since we've been talking for the last hour, let's get over to that and see if they've updated this, because this gives us a clear picture of what we're expecting tonight. So this has not changed. If you watched early this morning, we told you about the slight risk. We've got web articles, social media posts all out there on the internet. This is a slight risk. We showed you this earlier this morning. Main risk, hail. Lower risk, winds and tornadoes, but you see the entire area under that yellow shading, which means it's a slight risk. Now this orange in Springfield down there, we were thinking maybe the Storm Prediction Center at 8 a.m. would extend that into our viewing area. They haven't done that, so that's some good news, but it does mean that we are still on guard for severe weather. And we want to help you understand these risk levels, because it's that time of year when we start talking slight risks, enhanced risk, moderate, and you probably think, well, what the heck? I don't know what any of that means. Marginal, 1 to 2 storms, and usually we don't get any when we have a marginal. You go into a slight risk, that is what we have today. You get a few storms that are severe, and that's exactly what we've had happen this morning. You go into the enhanced and moderate risk, that's when you're talking numerous storms, numerous severe weather, numerous tornado warnings. We don't have that today, but we do have that slight risk, and so again, you do want to make sure that you are staying up to speed and staying on guard. My producer just mentioned something to me, but I was talking and didn't hear it, so they can just take it, and I'll figure out where we are as they mention it. Alton towards Brighton. So that's where we're getting, Alton towards Brighton. On the Illinois side, storm tracker headed that direction, so you can see what the skies look like there. And I'm going to go back to our radar to see. So we are hearing that power lines have actually come down along Route 111 in Brighton, and that is in Illinois. So hearing that, it looks like right now all of our tornado warnings have moved out of our viewing area. We still do have severe thunderstorm warnings for the Metro East. Those will continue to scroll on your screen. Thanks for hanging in there with us this morning. Hopefully you are safe. We'll gather up more information and try to bring it to you in our later newscast. But right now it looks like we are in the clear when it comes to severe tornado warnings, just severe thunderstorm warnings. We will let the crawl handle that. Our storm tracker will be out tracking more, and I'm going to go get a bigger cup of water. For now, we will go back to your regular programming. Have a great day and stay safe.